morning and welcome to Yoga Nook at my house. I'm your virtual teacher for today. My name's Jenny. I'm the owner of Yoga Nook and currently we're closed but we're offering classes free online. So feel free to share this with somebody who is maybe stuck indoors. We're going to begin laying down on the floor. But first I wanted to just remind you that it's very easy to do yoga on a mat. It doesn't have to be a yoga mat. This has a rubber back so that it doesn't slide and it'll keep you still, but it's actually just a regular mat. And you could do this in your living room on your carpet. You might want to not wear shoes or even socks on your carpet. I have yoga socks on with those little nodules on the bottom to keep my feet where I put them. So safety out of the way, turn your phone off and get rid of distractions and have a couple of blankets handy to you and maybe a pillow or a bolster if you have one and lay down on the floor. Be on the ground and resting there. Take a few deep breaths and settle yourself into the earth. One of the things about this chaotic time is that it's very air orientated. Everything is. The virus itself and all of the panic and the chaos that goes around that. So lay on the floor. Feel yourself grounding. Close your eyes for a few moments. And as we go through our scan together, try to remain still. Pay attention to your legs, how they're resting on the floor, to the distance that you've chosen between your feet, to the weight of the pelvis, and how the pelvis is resting on the ground. Do you sense any more height in one side of the pelvic bowl than the other? And you might be able to detect this by noticing the density in the buttock muscles themselves. Does one buttock muscle feel more contracted than the other side? Breathe your awareness into the lumbar region of your spine. And become aware of the arch in your lumbar. Do you feel that arch is very high away from the ground, like a little bridge? Or do you feel your low back is down into the floor, fitting the contours of the floor? On your next inhalation, draw your breath up the spine and become aware of how you've positioned your arms and your hands. Try not to move them. Just become aware. Is one arm further away from the body than the other? How are you presenting your hands? Are your palms up or down? Or maybe they're facing your side seams. And last of all, notice the weight of your head and how your head is resting on the ground. Compare the weight of your head and the weight of your pelvis. And see if you can determine which feels heaviest, the head or the pelvic bowl. We'll come back to this scan after our session this morning and see if anything has changed as a result of our practice together. Let's begin then, if you haven't already, by bending your knees and putting your feet on the floor. I'm going to use a little pillow under my head, just for a bit of comfort from the ground. We begin with a little bit of arch and flatten here. So inhale, tip the pelvis forward towards the knees, and that should increase the little bit of arch you've got here in your low back. And exhale, tip the pelvis back to press the low back down into the ground. Inhale, arch. Exhale, flatten. And you might be able to see my head and neck here respond slightly to this vertebral wave as we introduce it to the spine and even to the nervous system. This is a simple pattern which should not be done too extreme. It's just very gentle. And it's a great way to bring awareness to the back body and just to start gently introducing the types of movement that we're going to play with today. As you work with this pattern, also notice the nature of it. Does it feel easy? Is it a little stiff? Perhaps if you've practiced with me before, this is a nice familiar pattern and your body's welcoming this movement. Come back to neutral. And from neutral, widen your feet a little bit and start to initiate a windshield wiper type pattern where you're just going left and right with your knees and you're rolling across the edges of your feet and you're tipping your pelvis left and right. Let's do a few more of those. You can add your breath awareness into this if you want to. Maybe inhaling as the knees go back into center, inhaling as the knees go to the side and exhaling as the knees come into center. But so long as you're breathing in and out, we're good. So as you come back into center next time, let's pause there. And from the shoulders, move the arms up into this little framework. Put your thumb into your opposite elbows. And notice the rectangle that you've created between your forearms and your chest wall. Keeping your legs somewhat still, can you begin to turn the trunk? And you're trying to maintain that rectangle shape that you're creating with your forearms and the chest wall. So rather than taking the arms this way, what we're doing is rotating the trunk. And I'm using my legs as stability here. So I'm pushing with my feet a little bit and my pelvis is definitely responding to the rotation. Let's do a few more of these side to side. And the next time we come back through center, remain. As your arms come down, gather your right knee up into your chest. Let's whip the ankle a little bit. Give yourself a few turns in one direction, a few turns in the other direction. And then guiding this right knee towards your right armpit, offer the right foot to the left thigh. So you come into this figure 4 shape that you're used to creating. Put your arms away from your body so they're a little out of the way and start to rock your pelvis to the right side. So in other words, over the leg that you've crossed over. So this will begin to roller that right buttock muscle on the floor. Now, some of you will be familiar with this type of pattern. And one of the things that we play with in my class is offering some different vectors to the pelvis. And the way that we would do that is to move this left leg a little bit. If I take the leg away, it changes how much of the right buttock muscle contacts the floor. If I bring the leg in towards me, or maybe even go onto my toes, it takes the pattern into a slightly different place. So just see what feels best for you. What do you like best of all? You can even take the foot all the way up off of the ground and rock there. A couple with each vector is usually enough. Let's come back into center now. Guide that right knee into the chest and hug it in there. Take your left hand behind your head, inhale here, and as you exhale, pull your navel back towards your spine as you come up towards the knee. And as you inhale, reduce the work of that right leg. Let it float out onto the floor. And you can take your right arm all the way back and just take a deliciously long stretch in that right side, offering some breath awareness into the right ribs. Let's take 3 breaths here. Hello, Juno. This is one of my dogs. She likes to do yoga with me. So anytime I'm laying on the floor, it's an opportunity to enjoy yoga. Let's play with that pattern on the other side. Hi. The knee comes into the chest. We turn it, the ankle. We let the knee float out to the side and offer the left foot to the center of the right thigh. And this time the pelvis will tilt to the left side. Rock and roll. As you rock on this side, it's a great opportunity to just notice, well, how does this feel different to what I just experienced on the other side? Does this side feel tighter? Is it easier to organize? What differences do you detect? And don't forget that we can offer some vectors by moving the leg away from the body a little bit. It changes how you organize that pattern. You can bring the foot in, maybe onto the toes. And maybe even all the way up off of the floor. And notice how you roll at different areas of that buttock muscle as a result. As you come back into center next time, pause and bring the left knee into the chest. Take the right hand behind the head, and as you exhale, come up nice and firmly towards the knee. Hold it at the top, and then slowly uncurl this. The head comes down, the leg slides out, the left arm goes up all the way to the back of the room. Pause there for a moment, just enjoying that stretch. And can you offer more breath awareness into this left side? Let's stay here for 3 breaths. At the end of your next exhalation, bring the arm down and draw both knees into your chest. Stir the knees around a little bit, getting a little bit more back contact with the floor. And as you're ready to, roll yourself to one side and meet me on all fours.